morning. Welcome, everybody. This is our BSPU call. Again, a little unusual on a Thursday and rather than our normal Tuesday, although that may be changing. And after 6 years, why not? So I want to share with you a very, very unique case study and several things that I've learned from past client of Bestseller Publishing. Let me share my screen and you'll see who that is. So it is Margie Shard. Margie Shard. Margie used to be a certified financial planner. I guess she still is. She kept her license. And she and I did a book for Margie, I think 7 years ago now, in the financial advisory space. And she did very well with the book. She told me that she did over $500,000 in revenue directly attributed to the book. So that's pretty doggone good. I'm going to share a little bit about that, but just a little bit, because the thing that intrigued me most was I saw Margie had posted something. And as you can see, international best-selling fiction author. And so I reached out to her and we hadn't connected in a long, long time. Like I said, I did her book 7 years ago. And I said, Margie, tell me about what's going on. What's this international best-selling fiction author thing? And she said, well, Rob, I actually earn over $1 million a year from book royalties alone selling fiction. I was like, what? I don't know anybody that does those kind of numbers. She's actually one of the top 10 most read authors on Kindle Unlimited in the United States. She has, and I'm not going to give away all the details because I want to share details with you, but she has done some really amazing things, some things that I would anticipate she would need to do to earn seven figures, over $100,000 a month. She'll do $1.3 million in royalties this year from the books that she's written. And these are all romance books, fiction books. She sold her financial services company years ago. She was very successful with her book, but she felt like she wasn't passionate about financial services and what she was doing. And so instead, she decided to sell the company and begin a search. And she and I did an hour-long interview, which I'll give to all of you. And at the end of the interview, she said something really interesting. She said I think she said she was 40 years old when she decided, which is just a few years ago. She's only been writing now fiction for 3 years. 3 years. So she went from zero to $1 million a year, zero to over 6 figures a month in 3 years selling fiction. And she started that at 40 because she felt like she wasn't doing what she was really wanting to do with her life. And now she is. And so what I want to do with you today is I want to share a little bit about her success with her nonfiction book, because almost everything we do is in the nonfiction space. But I actually want to share a number of things with you about what she's doing to actually sell as many books as she is in the fiction space. Okay, very different than our normal calls and unusual, but she absolutely deserves it with the success that she's had. By the way, she is going to be one of my guest speakers at our BSP client only event in February. So the event is going to be February 17th and 18th. It's going to be in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. So you'll fly into Jacksonville, rent a car, drive down, or if you're local to Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, just drive on down. We'll be in St. Augustine. We'll be at a hotel right downtown. Really, really fun place, cool city. And I look forward to, 50, 60, 70 of you that, because we normally cap it small so I can really get involved and help as much as possible with each of you individually. So you'll hear more about that, but you might as well write those dates down. February 17th and 18th should be a Friday and a Saturday in St. Augustine. That'll be our client only event. And Margie will be one of our guest speakers talking about her strategies to do over $1 million a year in royalties alone, which Holy cow. That's cool. So let's dive in. I want to go through some details with you. I'm going to move my camera because I want to take some notes or give you guys some notes and share with you details on some very unique and unusual and some run-of-the-mill things that Margie is doing to sell as many books as she is. First, I want to start with Margie's nonfiction book because she shared something that she did that at different times I've poo-pooed, but I'm going to give a caveat on it because I feel like it could be really, really good depending on your business. So as I said, Margie told me that she did over $500,000 that could be directly attributable to her book, meaning that people bought her book or were referred to her, books were given out, etc., by her clients. She uses a lot of those same or used a lot of the same referral strategies that we talk about on a regular basis, you know, giving your current clients 2 or 3 books, asking them to give them out to friends, giving a book to any potential client, anybody that you ever meet with that is a potential client gets a copy of your book, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Just run-of-the-mill stuff that friggin' works. So do it, okay? But she did something different that I thought was really cool. And as I said, I've poo-pooed it in the past, but she had a book launch party when we launched her book. We launched her book to bestseller. I think it was back in 2015. That's what she said. So it's been 7 years now. And what she wanted to do, because she had a local focused business. So that's my caveat. If you have a business where your clients are local, she was a financial advisor and dealt mainly in a local area. But if you have a business where you have clients that are coming to you locally, now you may say, well, my clients can be local, but they can also be out of state or out of the country. Fine. If that's the case and you want to do this, then, you know, obviously more power to you and do it. But most certainly, if you do have a local clientele, then some type of book launch party would be, I think, really great opportunity to reconnect with your current clients and attract a bunch more. So here's what she did. And I thought there were a couple of unique things here that were very, very helpful. First of all, she invited everybody. She invited all her past clients. She invited all of her current clients and told them they could bring a +1, husband, wife, etc. To this. She really made a nice party, right? Like this was more than just a book signing at a local Barnes and Noble. This was a party. This was like think of it like a client appreciation party. I got the whiteboard up. I might as well start writing some of these things down. So, so for nonfiction launch party, and her launch party was one, all current and past clients. Number 2, it was a real party, not just a book signing. So, you know, hors d'oeuvres, drinks, you know, decent venue. You're going to spend some money, you know, doing this, but and guests. So they could, of course, bring a +1, but they could invite anybody that they thought might be of interest to come to it, right? Anybody, a friend, family member, you know, coworker, anybody like that. So real party atmosphere. She also, of course, gave out books, and she did not sell anything. She gave them all away. And she signed every single one of them personally. So she did I mean, she was working the whole night. She's a hard worker, as you'll see in just a minute when we begin talking about the fiction and the royalties. But what she did was, this was not about selling the books. It's never about selling the books when it's nonfiction. What it's about when it's nonfiction is using the books to get people to give you big checks, to attract clients, right? To get the thing that you want. So she gave away books. She gave away a personalized book that she signed for the guests that came, and every single person, she gave at least one more book to them, personal exchange, and said, please give this to a friend, a family, some family member, somebody that you think could benefit from it. Okay. So free book plus gift for somebody else. Okay. Now we talk about this, but here's the opportunity to have, 20, 30, 40, maybe as many as 50 plus people experiencing your generosity, having some drinks together, some laughs, having fun. They get a gift from you, your book, and they get a second book that they now have a responsibility, and they feel this need to reciprocate your generosity. They have a responsibility to give that book away. It worked very, very well for her. Number 4, what she did is she had her team there, and her team was actually setting appointments right on the spot with people, which I thought was really, really clever. So as an example, her clients were there for many different reasons, right? They may be your client because, she is managing their money. They may be a client because she put them into some type of annuity, universal life, whole life, whatever. I'm not a financial person anymore. So whatever those things are. Well, if they came in for one thing, it doesn't mean that they aren't qualified to also get number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 thing from her. So all of these were potential opportunities as current clients to cross-sell, serve them in better ways, et cetera. So she had her team there on the spot as they were giving out books and as they were funneling those people into the line to get their book signed by Margie and have their glass of champagne and talk and laugh and dance and play music and all those things. She was setting appointments, or her team was setting appointments for Margie all week. I don't know what her numbers were from that initial launch, but she said they were significant just from that launch. She said people all over the next 3 or 4 weeks were coming in with their envelopes, with their books. They brought their books in, and she was selling them into, the next universal life or whole life or annuity or program that would best meet their needs. So these 4 things she did for her local launch party. If you have a local business, doing something like this, I think would be very beneficial to your business. You may spend a few $1,000s on something like this. It'll be the best few $1,000s you could ever spend, because you're giving back to your clients, people that love you, people that are there to support you, and it's going to be a great opportunity to solidify that relationship and to get them to now think of who's the next person that would like to be a client of Margie Shard, et cetera. So it worked out really, really well. It was a big kickoff to the $500,000 that she did using her book, which she continued to use in this same way on a regular basis. It was she didn't do any paid advertising. She didn't do anything fancy. Basically, she used her book to build her local business, and it did very, very well. So you don't have to be fancy for your book to successfully bring you new clients. Okay. All right. So let's talk now about the fiction book, because most of the time that Margie and I spent on our recording was talking about her fiction books. And I was really intrigued. I asked tons and tons of questions. Many of the answers that I got, I expected, but some I didn't expect. So I'm going to give you a bunch of things that Margie taught that I think could be helpful, or at least you need to consider when it comes to what it will take to get your book to sell, and whether or not you might want to embark on, the similar path that Margie embarked on for herself as a writer. So number 1 is a volume. I say this all the time about children's book authors and about fiction authors, and Margie just proved it completely. I say, look, if you're going to make your money $3 at a time, $4 at a time, $5 at a time, which is what royalties are, then you need to have volumes of content. Margie, in 3 years right now, she is currently writing her 43rd book. Okay. In 3 years. So right now, She has 42 books published. She is currently writing her 43rd. Now, just so I say it, if you look up Margie Shard on Amazon, you're not going to see anything. She writes under a pen name. She writes kind of steamy romance, mafia type novels. She did tell me at the end, I was like, don't tell me, I don't want to know. She's like, nobody knows, just a few of my close friends. I'm like, oh, no problem. We don't. And she's like, I want to tell you. I'm like, okay, but I can't tell you guys. Anyway, she writes under a pen name, and she says she does that because literally, she has she uses Kindle Unlimited. That's one of the places where she gets her, a significant portion, 60 to 70% of her income is coming from Kindle Unlimited. If you know anything about Kindle Unlimited, basically it's based on page reads. So she has millions and millions of page reads every single month. She has tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of fans, and some of them are absolutely crazy. And so she keeps her real life completely separate from her writing, fiction, pen name life. So number one, massive, massive volume content. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. She is slowing down. This year, she's only done 7 books. And next year, she's only planning on 7 books. That means the majority of the work that she did was in the first couple of years. Here's the interesting thing about that. This year, her income is up 30% over last year. Last year, she cracked $1 million. This year, she'll crack 1.3 million. So even though she's only writing 7 more books, there is a building that happens, right? There's this growth because she has this massive amount of content that continues to sell, that people continue to find, that people are continuously interested in. And because of that, she can reduce the amount of work that she's doing while her income continues to go up. Okay, interesting and exciting, but volume, writing her 43rd book. And she said 3 years is this week. 3 years is this week that she embarked on this journey. Number 4, covers and titles are everything. Covers and titles are everything. The interesting thing that she shared is she does series. So she'll do a 10-book series on a specific character or characters. A book series, a 4-book series. And she had a 6-book series that for whatever reason was really underperforming. And so she went back, and this was one of her original series from 2.5 years ago. She went back, and the series was producing like $5,000 a month. And so she went back and she redesigned, she renamed it, retitled it. She wrote a new book description on all 6 books, and she did new cover imagery on all 6 books. So new covers, new titles, new everything. And within a month, her income 5x'd, 500%. She went from $3,000 to $5,000 a month to $15,000 to $20,000 plus a month on those 6 books, all because she changed the covers and she refreshed the titles. So what's the point? The point is, as we say, launching your book is important, but it all starts with your cover and with your title. It's got to attract your ideal client, or it's not going to do the work that you intend it to do. 500% growth just because she made changes to the covers and titles. Very, very powerful and intriguing. Number 5, she made a mistake here, and the mistake was she started late, but she started directing everybody back to her newsletter. She has about 40,000 people on her email list. I was surprised at that because to me, that's very low. My email list is 75,000 or something like that. And so I thought 40,000, and she's got millions of page reads every month. Well, she started late. So the mistake she made was she started late. But the cool thing that she's doing to grow her newsletter list is she's not doing any paid advertising or traffic to grow it. All of her newsletter subscribers come to her because she creates a scene at the end of her books that leaves an open loop. The scene is not culminated. And she says, if you want the end of the scene, go to my website, www. et cetera, and I'll give you the next scene or the final scene. Now, she culminates her book, but this scene is kind of like a teaser for the next book that she's writing. And the teaser, the open loop, they want closed. So organically, she's growing her newsletter following very, very consistently by people that have read the book and then want the thing. How does this apply to you? You're probably not going to write steamy scenes in your book that, culminate in the next book to be written. Sylvia, maybe, I don't know, but it will culminate. It will help you if you think open loops. Give them an opportunity to learn more, to see something more by going to your website, by opting in. We talk about this as the next steps in every single chapter. The next steps are, hey, if you'd like to see my case study, like for example, my newest book that hopefully will come out January of next year is Book Funnel Secrets. And I've interviewed a number of people who are doing incredible numbers with their book funnels, one of them being Russell Brunson. And so when I talk about Russell within the book, my next steps is going to be, and if you'd like to see my private interview that I did with Russell on this subject matter, go to bookfunnelsecrets.com/Russell, right? So that's the open loop. It gives them something more. It gives them next steps. For her, it was the key to building her newsletter was having that open loop and then direct people back to join the list. Okay. It might be you give them 5 secrets, and to learn about the 6th untold secret, go to www.bookfunnelsecrets.com/secret. Whatever. You get the idea. Okay. Number 6, the importance of the calendar and the plan. Now, some of this is going to relate, some of this is not going to completely relate, but you do need to think about this. So she has built an enormous following, obviously, not just the 40,000 with her newsletter, but all of the readers and all of the buyers from Amazon. So when she is getting ready to launch a new book, which is quite often, right? This was her least productive year, and she did 7. She'll do 7 next year. So that's more than every other month she's launching a book. So when she's launching a book, and I'm going to give you some of the things that she does to launch a book that I think would be helpful. But when she's launching a book, she is thinking back on, okay, I'm going to do a pre-sale on this book. That means that I'm going to email my list on this date, and this date to focus on the pre-sale. I'm going to, again, because she has a big following and she's doing paid advertising for other books, she then retargets the people that are going and buying her other books to see that the next book in the series is coming out. So if they bought book number 5 in a 6-book series and book number 6 is coming out in 3 months, she's starting paid advertising, retargeting all the people that bought book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5 to let them know that book 6 is coming out. Okay. So all of this is a well thought out plan, and it's all in her calendar. Okay. So the calendar is something that you live and die by when it comes to launching your book properly. Okay. Number 7 is, I wonder if this should be 1 or 2. I'll call this resources, and we'll make it 1, but it's team and money. So she spends $15,000 every single time she launches a book, 15 grand. And that 15 grand is in a number of different places. The 15 grand is in advertising expenditures. The 15 grand is in newsletter purchases. She'll buy ads in BookBub, or she'll do a drop to somebody's newsletter email list that is in the same kind of genre, right? Or go in front of someone's blog that their blog is all in this kind of fiction, drama, romance space, and she will buy advertising on it. So she's going to spend $15,000. Now, her goal is to get 3,000 sales in the first month, because that pays her back the $15,000. Okay. She's making about $5 or so per sale right away. Now, she'll make more over time, because with Kindle Unlimited, it's about the readership of the book. And of course, the book will continue selling past month number 1, but she wants to get her money back in month number 1. I thought that was really interesting, because if you think in terms of, here's what I've invested, whether it's with bestseller publishing or everything else that you did, then you need to think, well, how am I going to get my return on investment as quickly as possible based on what, that opportunity is for you? If it were me, and I'm doing book funnel secrets, and I'm going to be spending, and have spent a good amount of money already, but I'm going to be spending more money to advertise that book, et cetera. I got a number on that. I need to think, okay, I want this book to produce 1 new client the first month that I launch it, 2 new clients, 3 new clients, whatever that number is. If an average client for you is worth $5,000 and you spent $15,000 or invested $15,000, make a plan to get your $15,000 back in the first month. Think through, how am I going to use this book to get 3 new clients in month 1? I've shared and share every single week all different kinds of ways for you to do that. Maybe it's doing a launch party. Maybe it's doing what I shared Pamela Moss did, who did $60,000 in revenue from her book in the first 60 days, right? There's lots of different things that you could do, but have a plan, be intentional about it. So she invested her resources, but she's very intentional about getting her money back as quickly as possible, and then the rest being gravy for her, which is cool. Number 8 is problems and issues. So it was interesting to hear this from her. So she, of course, uses Amazon and Ingram Spark for everything. And the other interesting thing is, she just started doing audiobooks. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, you have left so much money on the table. I mean, you could double the amount of money you're making on all these books just by having audiobooks for each one of them, which is something she's doing. Plus, she's getting them translated into German, French, Spanish, etc. Anyway, she told me a story that I thought was very interesting. She said, on my most recent launch, which I don't know when that was, last month, 2 months ago, whenever, she did her whole pre-sale routine, and she had 3,000 people that had pre-purchased the book through Amazon. So Amazon made a mistake, and they, the week before her launch, they canceled all of her pre-sales, 3,000, which is $15,000 of income. They canceled them. So she is freaking out. She's, on the horn with her rep from Amazon. They said, yes, you're right. We're sorry. We made a mistake. But they said, there's nothing that we can do about it. It's done. Like, we can't go back and charge these people. We can't go back and sign them up. There is nothing that we can do about it, but move forward and try to do better next time. I thought it was interesting because, she had a bunch of people telling her, yeah, that's why you need to get off Amazon. And that's why Amazon is still the 800-pound gorilla. Even though they make mistakes, even though there are issues and problems, and in Margie's case, they cost her 15 grand, completely their mistake, their accident, and they won't do anything about it. It doesn't matter. They're still the best game in town for what she's doing. They're the best game in town for what we're doing. They're not perfect. They make a lot of mistakes, but it doesn't matter. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be issues. Number 9th and last is she uses paid advertising on Facebook and, of course, Instagram. She uses Amazon ads, and she uses ads on blogs like BookBub and others. Not saying that you need to use BookBub. I'm giving that as an example. BookBub is a great resource for fiction, not always a great resource for nonfiction. But I've shared this a number of times as well. If you do a simple search for your topic, whatever that is, and then blogs right after that, right? For me, writing blogs or book launch blogs or book marketing blogs or something, then you're going to come up with dozens and perhaps even hundreds of places that have already built an audience that you can advertise to. And generally speaking, it's not very much money to advertise on many of those blogs. She only spends, I say only, but she only spends about $300 a day. When you consider it's $1 million passive income business, $300 a day is not very much. She'll spend $300 a day to launch a book on paid advertising. And that's split between Facebook, Amazon, blogs, etc. Now, she continues to advertise, but she only continues to advertise based on the return on investment that she's getting directly from it. So most of the advertising, most of the expense is right up front, right when she launches a book. That's when most of the work is being done, and most of the focus is on getting attention, getting great reviews, etc. So all of this, and probably a lot more. She said that we went an hour and probably could have kept on going, but she said she made a bunch of mistakes. I said, I want to do that. I want to do a call with you on all the mistakes you made as well, so we can kind of learn from the mistakes you made. But all of this is equal to right now $1.3 million a year royalty income. And there's lots of opportunity here. I mean, anybody that has their books, millions of pages of their books being read every single month, has an opportunity to get these made into movies, to get these made into, maybe Netflix, made for TV type stuff. So this is just year 3. I mean, literally, she just finished her 3rd year of writing, and she's already at over 6 figures a month. Now, this is a lot. I mean, her 43rd book, holy cow. I mean, she is a powerhouse. She's an amazing woman. That is not the model for me, and that's not the model for most people that I know. But just understand, this is something that anybody can do if they put into practice, kind of these steps. You have to have massive volume, and you have to understand that the volume, I mean, why does Stephen King, as well known as he is, continue to write? He's rich enough, but if he wants income to continue to come in, then he needs to write new books and create new movies, and that's what he does. Now, at this point, he could probably go away and be forever happy, simply with all the money that he has and all the impact, but he wants to continue growing his audience and et cetera. And so all of these books have shelf lives. If Margie stopped doing everything tomorrow, she wouldn't make 1.3 million next year. She'd probably make 700, 800, 900,000, something like that. That's certainly better than a sharp stick in the eye. And she may have a 10-year lifespan for all of these books. But if you want to keep growing it, then you have to keep producing content. 7 books next year, and she'll probably grow another 30, 40, 50% in revenue, maybe hit the $2 million mark, et cetera. So that's a lot. I've been going pretty hard. This nonfiction part applies to all of you, or at least those of you that have a local business or clients that are local, as well as maybe outside of your locality. The fiction part, I'm not sure if that applies to you or not. There are certainly things that do, and I tried to emphasize those, like covers and titles, making sure that that's correct, like the newsletter plan, et cetera, like thinking ahead with your investment and your resources and making a proactive plan to get your money back, et cetera. I want you to get a return on investment from everything that you've paid Bestseller Publishing, and I want you to make way, way more than that. But I also know that that's in your hands. A lot of that part of it is not going to come directly from what I do for you or what the team does for you. It's going to come from how you use your book to get in front of your ideal client and capture new customers from it. Okay. So that's the stuff right there. That's how Margie's doing over $1 million a year. Margie is going to be with us, as I said, at that event, February 17th and 18th. In St. Augustine. You'll hear more about that. It will be announced, of course, on our Facebook page, and I'll be sending an email out. You'll probably get a telephone call, and if anyone uses the telephone anymore, a cell call, I guess, or a Zoom or chat or something.